Hello everyone. Welcome back. Today, we've got some crucial news you don't want to miss. Let's dive right into the top financial headlines and break down what's happening. Today, we're diving into a major piece from the Wall Street Journal titled, "Will the Fed Keep Cutting in 2025?" The article was written by Nick Timmy Rouse, often referred to as the Fed Whisperer due to his close insights into Federal Reserve policies. But let's be clear, this article isn't actually focused on the Fed's plans for 2025. Instead, it serves as the Fed's final public message to Wall Street and global investors before tomorrow's big decision on interest rates. It's drawing widespread attention because Nick lays out, in plain terms, why the Fed is making tomorrow's decision, why it can't go in a different direction, and how it's preparing for the evolving US economic landscape, which is anything but certain right now. Key insights from the article. Here's why this article matters. 1. Nick explains tomorrow's decision in detail, what's driving it, and why the Fed believes it's the right move. 2. He highlights the Fed's concerns about the changing market conditions and the political and economic challenges ahead. 3. And he gives us a glimpse of how the Fed sees its role in 2025 and beyond. Nick's reporting often comes from paid subscriptions, so unless you have access, it's hard to fully grasp his deep analysis. Other media outlets may summarize his points or share the headline, but they often lose the nuanced logic behind his conclusions. That's why it's so valuable to read the original. Tomorrow's decision, a done deal? Investors widely expect the Fed to cut rates by 25 basis points tomorrow. Nick opens his article by acknowledging this assumption. He doesn't challenge it, but he also doesn't outright confirm it. That's part of his finesse as a reporter. According to Nick, tomorrow's rate cut will likely mark the end of the first phase of rate reductions. Fed officials believe the initial rate cuts were a necessary correction after holding borrowing costs at historically high levels. These cuts followed months of waiting to ensure inflation was truly cooling and nearing their 2% target. In Nick's view, the Fed is essentially saying, look, the 100 basis points we've cut in 2024 weren't reckless, they were cautious and deliberate. So don't question our judgment on this. What will Powell say tomorrow? While the rate cut itself seems like a foregone conclusion, markets are more focused on what Fed Chair Jerome Powell will say during the press conference. Will he provide clear guidance about future policy moves? Nick warns not to expect much clarity. He says Powell will likely take a cautious approach, and here's why. Uncertainty about Trump's upcoming term. With Trump set to return to the White House, there's no telling what his new economic policies will look like or how quickly they'll take effect. A rapidly shifting economic environment, it's too soon to predict how the market will evolve in the next 3 months, let alone longer term. Nick essentially advises Wall Street to prepare for vague signals tomorrow rather than concrete forward guidance. Why not skip the rate cut? Could the Fed skip the rate cut altogether? Nick shuts that idea down, explaining why tomorrow's cut is both essential and low risk. Here's his reasoning. 1. The current federal funds rate is 4.6%. Even after a 25 basis point cut, the rate will remain above 4%, which is still higher than what's commonly considered the neutral rate, the rate that neither stimulates nor restrains economic growth. 2. Neutral rates are a somewhat theoretical concept, but most estimates place the US neutral rate between 2.5% and 4%. By staying above 4%, the Fed avoids stimulating the economy too much, which could reignite inflation. 3. A 25 basis point cut strikes a balance. It's significant enough to ease pressure on the economy, but small enough to avoid crossing into risky territory. Nick emphasizes that the Fed sees this as the safest course of action, and his article essentially clears the path for tomorrow's decision by addressing any potential criticisms. What this means for 2025. Through Nick's analysis, we get a clearer picture of how the Fed views its role and challenges in the year ahead. The concept of the neutral rate helps define the limits of future rate cuts. With Trump's policies introducing uncertainty, the Fed's room to maneuver in 2025 may be more constrained than ever. Nick's article gives us valuable insight into the Fed's thought process and the potential direction of monetary policy. For anyone tracking the US economy, this is a must-read to understand what's coming next. Next here is a breaking news: Ukrainian strike allegedly kills Russian general in Moscow. This is one of the most talked about stories in international media today, and we're diving into the Wall Street Journal's coverage titled, "Ukraine says it killed senior Russian general in Moscow scooter bombing." Early this morning, Moscow time, an explosion rocked the city, killing Lieutenant General Igor Kyiv, the head of Russia's radiological, chemical, and biological defense forces, along with his aide. According to a statement from Russia's investigative committee, a bomb planted on a motorcycle detonated near the entrance of an apartment building. Both military personnel died at the scene. The committee has classified this incident as a murder case and launched an investigation. This marks a rare and high-profile targeted assassination of a senior military officer since Russia began its invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The context behind the attack. A day before the explosion, Ukraine's security service, SBU, accused Kyiv of ordering the large-scale use of banned chemical weapons on battlefields in eastern and southern Ukraine. In a statement on Telegram, the SBU claimed there were over 4,800 reported incidents involving such weapons. Now, with Kyiv's sudden death following those accusations, many are speculating this could be a Ukrainian assassination operation. While Ukraine's government hasn't officially taken responsibility for the attack, pro-Ukrainian media outlets and social media accounts aligned with Kyiv have openly celebrated it as an SBU success. Kyiv's controversial legacy. Kyiv wasn't just a controversial figure in Ukraine, he was sanctioned by the UK government in October of this year for his alleged use of chemical weapons during the conflict. His actions drew international condemnation, further cementing his status as a key target. His assassination represents a significant blow to Russia, as Kyiv is now the highest-ranking Russian commander to be killed inside Russia during the ongoing war. What this means? The timing of this attack has sparked heated discussions, as Kyiv's death closely follows Ukraine's public accusations against him. While no formal acknowledgement has come from Ukraine, this incident highlights the escalating risks faced by senior Russian officials, even within the supposed safety of Moscow. As this story develops, it's clear that the war's reach is extending beyond the battlefield, with high-level targeted operations signaling a new phase in the conflict. The third news to share today: NATO takes over coordination of military aid to Ukraine from the US. This breaking news comes from Reuters, with the headline, NATO takes over coordination of military aid to Kyiv from US, source says. A source revealed today that NATO has officially assumed responsibility for coordinating Western military aid to Ukraine, a role previously led by the US. This transition, reportedly part of a pre-planned strategy, is widely seen as an effort to safeguard support mechanisms in the face of skepticism from former President Donald Trump, who is set to return to office. The handover, delayed by several months, is significant because of the looming uncertainty surrounding Trump's stance on Ukraine. Unlike the Biden administration's proactive approach, Trump is expected to adopt a far more restrained position on military aid, raising concerns about the future of Western support for Ukraine. Why this move matters? For over 2 years, the US Department of Defense has been at the forefront of organizing military aid to Ukraine. From its military base in Wiesbaden, Germany, the Pentagon coordinated essential logistics like matching ammunition supplies to frontline demands, managing safe stockpiling practices outside Ukraine, and adapting weapon deliveries to the changing dynamics on the battlefield. If Trump does not completely cut off aid to Ukraine, but reduces or withdraws US coordination efforts, the situation could deteriorate rapidly for Kyiv. Recognizing this risk, NATO, with the Biden administration's backing, has taken proactive steps to ensure continuity in military aid, even if US involvement shifts under Trump's leadership. What's next for Ukraine? This handover underscores the challenges ahead for Ukraine, as the global response to the war may face significant shifts in the coming months. NATO's move signals a broader strategy to prepare for potential disruptions while maintaining some level of support for Ukraine. However, the risks remain high, and Ukraine's future depends heavily on how these international dynamics evolve. Finally, let's focus on Uncle Sam's worries: US concerned as Turkey mobilizes troops, potentially planning a Syrian invasion. Today, the Wall Street Journal published an exclusive report with the headline, US fears military buildup by Turkey signals preparations for incursion into Syria. The subheadline reads, Kurdish officials urging Trump to press Ankara to head off an invasion. This report sheds light on several critical questions surrounding recent developments in Syria, particularly the rapid collapse of Bashar al-Assad's government. For weeks, observers have wondered how the Sham Liberation Forces, a relatively disorganized and under-equipped militia, managed to oust Assad in just over a week. Key questions and revelations. The sudden rise of the Sham Liberation Forces. The Sham Liberation Forces claim their success was the result of a year of preparation, training, and strategic planning. However, media footage and reports suggest they are still a loose and lightly armed group. How, then, did they pull off such a decisive victory? According to the report, US officials have hinted that Turkey played a crucial role in secretly supporting the Sham Liberation Forces with advanced weaponry, including drones and other modern equipment. Yesterday, President-elect Trump revealed that Turkey had taken control of Assad's regime in an unfriendly manner, suggesting Ankara acted independently of US interests. This Turkish backing, according to Trump, explains the sudden strength of the Sham Liberation Forces. Israel's relentless bombing campaign. Many have also questioned why Israel continues to bomb military bases across Syria, even after Assad's regime was toppled. The Sham Liberation Forces have publicly declared their intention to avoid regional conflicts, so why does Israel remain so aggressive? The answer appears to lie in Israel's distrust of Turkey's growing influence in Syria. If Turkey consolidates control over the new Syrian government, it could pose a significant threat to Israel. Ankara's alignment with Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran further intensifies Israel's concerns. To counter this potential threat, Israel has 1. Launched preemptive strikes on Syrian military installations, regardless of whether they are under Sham Liberation Forces control. 2. Expanded its controlled territory along the Syrian border, including a deeper and likely permanent hold on the Golan Heights. Turkey's military buildup near Kurdish-controlled territory. The Wall Street Journal report also highlights Turkey's recent troop movements near Syria's Kurdish-controlled regions. Ankara views the Kurds as existential enemies and has long sought to undermine them. However, its attempts to empower Syrian militias against the Kurds have been largely ineffective. Now, US intelligence suggests Turkey is preparing for a direct cross-border invasion of Kurdish-held areas in Syria. This development raises concerns in Washington, as any escalation could destabilize the region further and create new challenges for US policy in the Middle East. The broader implications. The Wall Street Journal report helps connect the dots in Syria's complex power struggle. Turkey's backing of the Sham Liberation Forces, combined with its antagonism toward the Kurds, paints a picture of a nation seeking greater influence in the region. However, this ambition is causing alarm in both Israel and the United States. For Israel, a Turkish-controlled Syria would be a strategic nightmare, prompting its aggressive military posture. For the US, Ankara's unilateral actions, such as its support for the Sham Liberation Forces and potential Kurdish offensive, challenge American efforts to stabilize the region. As Assad's fall gives way to new conflicts, Syria remains a hotbed of geopolitical rivalry, with Turkey, Israel, and other players vying for control. This latest report underscores that the end of Assad's rule may mark the beginning of an even more turbulent chapter in Syria's history. That's all for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more updates. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.